Hi, everybody. Welcome to another Chats with Chaudhry. Today is a very special one. So I'm attending PLA India Virtual. I know that's strange, and I'm here actually at this great event because I've been invited by Mukant Venkatasan, who's the CEO of Angaram Technologies, to help as part of his presentation of digital solutions to achieve data integrity and compliance. So, hello everyone at PLA India. I hope you're having a great show. And hello, Mukant. How are you?
I'm fine, Rizwan, and it is very exciting. I think PLA 2020 at Europe could not happen, and we were also trying to participate there. But now PLA India is happening virtually, and I thought it's a good opportunity to uh, get into this show and as well as have a live chat with you.
Well, I appreciate you taking the time out and using me as part of your presentation. So I hope people find this interesting. So before we start talking about data integrity and compliance, for those who are not familiar with Agaram Technologies, perhaps you could give us an overview of the business and a little bit about the history and your role within it.
Why not? Actually, we are a family-owned business. We are a 60-year-old group, and many people may not know. In India, we are quite known due to the fact that we were the first scientific glassware manufacturers in the southern part of India in 1959, and currently we are the third generation in the family. And we got into laboratory instrumentation business in the 70s. One of the earliest spectrophotometers and the blood cell counters were sold by us in India, in the southern part of India, and we grew to become a countrywide presence company. And in the late 80s, we started manufacturing some of the instrumentation in India. And I myself joined the group sometime in 91, 92. And then late 90s, we established this software division to develop software for some of the instrumentation manufacturers. And we started doing those development for automated analyzers and things like that. And it was a kind of a hobby for us because we got into instrumentation and we got into software. Then we released our first software for collecting data from instruments way back in 2000. And we were selling this desktop software to instrument manufacturers. They were bundling it and selling it along with their instruments. So at the time, capturing data from a PC was fun. So everybody wanted to store their data in a PC. So that was the period. And last 15 years or so, we have developed LIMS, electronic lab notebooks, scientific data management systems, document management systems, all kinds of systems we have developed. And that's where we are now.
Right. So you mentioned the last 15 years, you've developed a lot of things. So what are the major developments that you've seen happen over the last 15 years in terms of, from your perspective, what have been the sort of the big developments within that field?
Yeah. Basically, if you see, when we started selling our software in India first, it was kind of an unheard of thing, initially in the 2000s. And some of the instrument vendors in Europe and US, they were geared up because their challenges they faced were much higher, and they wanted to do a lot of automation there. Imagine Germany. We were supplying a lot to Germany, Netherlands, and things like that. And over a period of time, I think the industry has matured a lot, and the ask is very high. Currently, I would say in the last 3 to 5 years, the ask rate of the Indian customers and European customers and American customers are more or less similar. The kind of demand, and I would say the demand from India would be much higher than them. They want to do everything. They want the software to fly kites. That's the
Well,
scenario.
well, that's an interesting point, because one of the questions I have for you is, how different is the Indian pharma market to the European and North American markets in terms of regulation, the adaptation of digital?
Yeah,
Adoption of digital, I should say.
the adaptation rate was a bit slow until 2 3 years back, but I think now India is catching up. You may be knowing 5 6 years back, or probably a decade old, a lot of data integrity issues started with India, and slowly it got into China, and now it's omnipresent. So, but Indian pharmaceutical industry caught up with this, and some of the serious players started taking action even 10 years back to be very sure about data integrity. And some of the leading pharmaceutical companies implemented our data integrity solutions, and they wanted to be very sure it is the data that is as it is. That's it, and we don't want anything else. And that's the stand. Some of the leading companies in India took a stance in terms of data integrity.
Right. And are the regulations, for my ignorance, but are the regulations very similar in India to what, what's applied in North America and Europe as well in terms of regulatory
Actually, if you see,
requirements?
you are right. Actually, if you see the regulations in India, see, outsourcing happened in IT. Similarly, outsourcing happened in pharma also. And probably India is the world's largest producer of pharmaceutical medicines in terms of quantity. We are the largest producers of finished dosage forms in the world. So, and we were the largest exporters around the world. We face US FDA, MHRA, and probably 40 to 50 other countries' regulatory bodies. And some of our customers, we used to say more about FDA, 21 CFR Part 11 and things like that. But they said, come on, we are facing around 120 countries from our company, and we have to take care of all the country regulations. So you better be understanding that we have such challenges. Yeah.
Right. Okay. So looking at obviously the last year, it's been a very different and difficult year for lots of companies because of what's happened with COVID. So how has COVID impacted you as a business, and also in terms of the support you've been able to give to your customers, and also the
Yes.
adaptation of digital as well? Because obviously there is that whole debate about COVID has actually forced people to start thinking more about digital than they did maybe previously, or forced them to actually act now when they didn't act before.
Yeah, that may be the case, but I think even before COVID, way back from 2018 or so, we started working remotely with several customers, knowingly or unknowingly, and it so happened one of the leading COVID vaccine producers in the world is our customer, and they made us work 100% remotely. And we got the order and we worked with them for 3 months. We never saw them face to face.
Right.
Subsequently, once I was in Europe, and then I thought I should just visit them and say hello, at least a hello. And then I visited the US and said hi. And so this was a boon in disguise, I would say. Like 2 years before that, we started doing a lot of projects remotely. And that has given us a lot of understanding how to work remotely. And exactly when COVID happened, our entire team moved to work from home. And we were also swift in action. And we ourselves are using a lot of cloud these days.
Right. Okay. So let's talk about digital now and data integrity. So what do you think are the top technology priorities for regulated industries?
I was just going through the internet, just reading through many articles and people who have published. And I found out that digital transformation has started moving in the regulated industry. And we always used to complain about pharma. They are very conservative. They take slow decisions and all those things. But I could see that many of the companies have started moving towards digital transformation, and the cloud first move has also started. Many people have moved towards cloud, and data integration is taken very seriously today, and everybody is trying to do some kind of automation or the other. And industry, some of them are looking at AI and ML in the long term perspective. They are trying to get their act together now, bring data to a common platform. Then I think they are all planning for some kind of AI and ML kind of activities.
Right. And in terms of the regulated industries, I mean, what do you think is happening around digital transformation?
For many companies, each and every company, digital transformation means a little bit different. And I could see that some of them are thinking of moving paperless first. That's their idea. They're thinking, why not go digital by making paperless the laboratories? And why not bring all the silos together and bring a central database, build a central database, and implementing some cloud-based solutions? This is a kind of digital for a few of the companies. For some of the other companies, they are thinking of they are doing analytics work. They have already collected the data. They started doing some kind of analytics, introducing IoTs, cameras, videos, and artificial augmented reality and things like that. And if you see, many of them are concentrating on cyber security and data integrity. And I think we ourselves, if you see, we're involved in some of the projects where in vitro studies, let's say somebody is studying some kind of cancer or something like that, it is very difficult to do the study on the patient. Rather impossible. So you would like to, but you would like to know the effectivity of your drug. So they are doing some kind of in vitro study. That is, they are simulating the cancer in an external environment, micro environment, and trying to study the effect of the medicines. And we were very excited about this kind of projects because these are very complex projects actually. And they were from day one, they have made up their mind that they have to go digital, because unless and until they are digital, they will not be able to keep track of things, because the cycle of activity is very, very complex. It is going deeper and deeper. And if you try to manage these things on paper-based systems or on Excel, it's going to be really tough. And not now. At the later time, when they want to present it to the auditors, it will be much more difficult for them to prove their technique or their platform. So I think it's happening. The digital is really happening. And if you see, some of them are taking the FOMO, fearing of missing out aspect. Wow, everybody is moving digital. What are we doing? So we should do something on digital. That's the action I think a few of the companies are taking, going towards digital.
So what do you think is the foundation for a digital transformation within a regulated industry?
Again, I was going through several papers submitted by many people around the world, and I was always finding that data is the new healthcare currency, and it is the currency. You need to have data. And how can you get good data? Only by way of data integrity. So you should have quality data, provided you have highest order of data integrity. And that is what I found out. And some people may think that data is liability, but if you put data into the play area, I think it can give you a lot of benefits, and it could give you an opportunity to completely transform your company digitally. So I think the foundation for data integrity is data. So you should have proper data, data that you can trust, and it can happen only with data integrity.
So one thing I should have asked at the very beginning is, what do you define as data integrity, though? So what does, because, what does data integrity actually mean?
Okay. See, from a single piece of result that you may want to publish, either as a finished dosage form, you want to give it to your patients, or you are submitting it for regulatory approval. From a single piece of result, you should have the confidence to say that the data that I have published is 100% accurate, and I have all the necessary traceability with respect to this data, and I have full control over this data. That means I know exactly this is the data that I believe in, and I can also prove that I have a single source of truth, that this data is indeed authentic enough. And that is data integrity. And many people are talking about culture and all those things, but my belief is not about culture. My belief is more in automation. You should have some kind of automation to make data integrity an automated thing, rather than people thinking about, do I need to submit this data? Do I need to change this data? Those options are simply should not be available for individuals.
That's interesting. Well, I'm sure you'll get some questions about that after this presentation as well. So I know the last 2 years has been a very busy year for Agram Technology. So perhaps you can just tell us a bit more of what's been happening with the business over the last 2 years.
Basically, I attended the paperless lab, the first paperless lab in 2014. And Peter Bugard was my close friend. And then he said, why don't you come over? Then I visited 2014. Subsequent to that, I think he attended in 2019, where I presented an automation process for data integrity. It is a kind of a process framework for automating data integrity. And it was well received by many people. And I never even touched about our products. I was more into how to achieve data integrity in a more generic way. That was our intention actually. But we have been focusing a lot in the last couple of years to improve data integrity for our customers by increasing some features in our systems. For example, some of our customers were inspected by FDA and other auditors, and they found out some module that we have is we have named it as purposefully we have named it as CFR Gateway. Okay, and it is surprising to know why this name. This was precisely named as CFR Gateway to make a meaningful sense for data integrity. You have to cross through this gateway to get to your data, get to your systems that you are authorized to use. And whatever data you publish can be protected by the system. And this was very well welcomed by FDA. At least in 2 or 3 of our customers, they gave us feedback. FDA had noted down your name, your company's name, as to what kind of solution these guys are doing. So that was very interesting for us. That was a big inspiration for us to move towards more and more towards data integrity. Last year, we introduced a completely rewritten electronic lab notebook. We used to have a client-server application, but we were not happy with that, and we introduced a web-based electronic lab notebook, completely rewritten for the web and the cloud. And we are talking about moving towards completely as a SaaS-based application in the coming years, so that we can ready. Currently, last 2 years we were making all our applications cloud ready. That was our intention actually. So we were busy, very busy, trying to make our applications cloud ready so that we can move towards the cloud revolution. Also, it is a boon in disguise. We never knew that COVID is going to come. It is all the more better if we go towards cloud under the current pandemic situation. And we were very lucky, I think, to move towards the cloud area.
Right, brilliant. Well, I've got one other question for you. So what are the challenges of going digital in terms of data integrity, and how can the industry address them?
Yeah, there are definitely different challenges actually. Many people don't know where to start. That is the biggest challenge. Where to start? What do we do? Let's start from somewhere. My advice is to start from data integrity. Have proper solutions to make sure that the data you collect is good enough, which can follow Alcoa as much as possible, and make sure you can trust your data. Build a single source of truth for your company, and I think then on it is going to be a kind of a chain of events will take you forward to increase your digitization goals. Once you secure your data properly, then you can play with your data. You can extract data of interest from your data and make it available for all your analytical works, analytics works, BI works, or to your AI system. You can provide data to your AI system, but the quality of this data has to be 100% trustworthy. And that is where I come from. You should be able to collect your data first, then you can easily go for digital solution.
Right. And do you have any examples of where you've helped people in that respect?
Yeah. For example, I was telling you about a customer who wanted to do very advanced studies simulating the cancerous environment. This is a very deep subject. Cancer studies is actually globally is going on in thousands of laboratories, and I could see their interest. And at that time, we realized they wanted a limb system which a normal limbs cannot do. A normal limbs can manage samples, can manage tests, it can manage workflows for approvals, generate reports, inventories. This is very common. No? Almost any limbs company can do that. But what they wanted was uh, many to many traceability. So they will start with one material and make it into multiple materials, and each material will undergo some kind of workflow process, and it will go deeper and deeper and deeper. That's a like a chain of workflows are going to go through, and we introduced advanced workflows processing for such companies. And that's when we realized, wow, this biotech industry is getting deeper and deeper. And that's when we realized, and we built very, very powerful workflow processing engines for our limb system, and we feel really proud about it. And in fact, before that, we had some experience in Europe as well, similarly in cancer research. So this is a biotech and biopharma are actually leading the digitalization era, actually, I would say, because for them, data is all, and data is huge. So we need to know, we need to have some kind of solution where they can manage their data more accurately and more traceably. That's where our limbs, I think, Qualis limbs modules that we built were really powerful to manage these kind of scenarios.
Right. And any other examples?
Yeah, if you see the electronic lab notebook, traditionally, if you see the LIMS companies have had the possibilities to record results in the LIMS system, which is great. It was very good for environmental labs, water testing labs, pharmaceutical labs. But if you look at the pharmaceutical and biopharmaceutical, to arrive at that final result for a particular test, these guys would have spent a lot of time, a lot of work would have gone into it. And even though they had a limbs, they had to still record things on paper or on Excel sheets. And I think I can easily openly claim probably even 90% of the current limbs implementation, they are still using paper-based or Excel-based systems for test level data capture. So once you complete the test, you can say whether it's a pass or fail, or put a number, or you can say it's white or yellow, whatever it may be. But to arrive at that number, they would have done a lot of work still being done on paper or on Excel sheets or on some kind of separate system. That's where the electronic lab notebook comes into picture. And we introduced this electronic lab notebook way back in 2003, actually. And the meaning of that electronic lab notebook is coming to more fruitification for the end users now, I would say. And they would realize, wow, I can throw away my spreadsheets. I can start using this electronic lab notebook, because spreadsheets are darlings for the laboratory and they have to use it every day. And what if you can have a spreadsheet with controlled environment? That's what is Logilab's electronic lab notebook. And I would say many people would love to use that.
Right. And what about DMS systems?
Yeah, basically, if you see SDMS, I have interesting anecdotes because Alcoa is very, very close to SDMS, I would say. Many customers come to us like the Charlie Chaplin movie. You may be knowing he will always take one small guy along with him. He will throw a stone and break a glass. Then he'll be the glass repairer going behind. So we are the glass repairer in terms of data integrity. Many of our customers would have had some kind of incidents with the audits, and they found out, hey, what I would like to see the results that you published for this batch, and can you show me the raw data? There is some mismatch. It may be unintentional. I'm not talking about intentional data integrity issue. Many of the data integrity issues are unintentional, doesn't match well. And how are you going to do this? Then FDA said, oh, why don't you consider implementing some kind of solution here to make sure that whatever version of data that you're publishing is the same as it is stored in your system, so that you have control over it. And that's when the SDMS comes into picture, where all your data can be stored in one central repository and you can build a single source of truth. By data, I'm meaning instrument generated raw data and metadata and human generated data. your Excel sheets, your documents, all of them can be placed in one central repository with version control. That makes it all the more easier for auditors as well as for the end users to pull your data and show it to your auditors at any point in time.
Brilliant. Well, I know we're running out of time. You have a set time for your presentation. So that's all we have time for. I'm sure if you've got any questions, there's a Q&A session after this. Feel free to ask any questions. If you're not attending PLA India, though, how can people get more information?
They can always visit our website. They can www.agramtech.com or info@agramtech.com. They can reach out to us. We will respond to all our customers as quickly as possible and as usual. Thank you, Rizwan, for taking this time to discuss with me. And I like the way that we discussed because it's more practical. I didn't want to do a PPT here, and I hope the visitors at PLA will really enjoy this discussion.
Well, I appreciate that. And thank you for the invitation. To everybody who's attending Paperless Labs Academy India Virtual, I hope you're having a fantastic event and I hope you enjoyed that. If you're not attending and you're watching this, as Mukund said, you can get in touch via the website. And if you've got any comments about this video will be on LinkedIn. You can put some comments below the video and I'm sure Mukund will be happy to answer them. And we can maybe start a debate, because I'm sure there'll be some things that people may agree or disagree with. So it'll be always great to have some interaction and some discussion about that. So all that's definitely says, good luck with the rest of the show. Look after yourself. I hope you have a fantastic event.
Thank you, Rizwan. Thank you for your time and appreciate it.
And I hope everybody who's watching, if you're at the show, have a great event. And if you're not at the show, I hope everything is safe and well. For everybody, stay safe, stay healthy. And until next time, bye-bye.
Thank you, everybody. Thank you. Bye-bye.